Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and guess what? Yep, I got the 2022 Tundra up on a lift. Thanks to my friends here at Team Toyota, I'm able to look at this. Now they are doing repair work and service work around me, so it might get a little loud, but I'll do my best to come through. I have so many things I want to check in this truck. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and let's kind of go look at it. Well, I'm gonna flip around a little bit. I'm gonna kind of keep the camera towards me. My mic is directional. I want you guys to be able to hear me. But I wanted to start here. So this is the air dam, and this, I did a video on this. This comes down. You can see it's pretty well bolted in. There's a huge piece of steel here that's probably for crash protection purposes, I'd guess. But that's bolted in steel. It's riveted in. I mean, it looks like it's gonna be able to handle the winter conditions. Hopefully, it looks like they've done a great job on that. And this is, we're gonna hit it a few times. That's Toyota QDR right there on display. Make sure this lasts. Now, I'm not gonna go much farther back because this brings up a really good question that I'm trying to figure out. So there's a lot of conversation about tow hooks, and people want to add tow hooks, and I don't understand. I don't understand how you do it. So we have the front bumper here. This is plastic going back, right? And then this is a plastic here. This is the air dam here. So you could kind of do off the arms here, but that's bolted into the steel there. So, you know, I'm sure Toyota has the solution. I'm sure they've thought this thing through. I mean, these guys did a lot of development, but I don't know. So I'm waiting to see what it looks like, but from an aftermarket standpoint, I'm not sure how that's gonna work. We'll have more, like I said, I'm gonna have more information on that. But let's say you do get stuck, because, you know, if you're off-roading, it's not a question of, you know, if you get stuck, it's a question of when you're gonna get stuck. So you're gonna have to crawl into the truck here, and then probably wrap your tow strap around one of the control arms here. So I probably want to use stabilizer bar, probably use a control arm, wrap that around there, and then get myself pulled out. So that's what you're looking at there. Another question was on oil filters. So it's right over here, and it's right there. It's a black cartridge. It's a black cartridge, so it's not a canister style. It's a spin-off cartridge style. And you just see it right up in there, a little bit of housing. So what you have to do to change the oil filter is you drop a bolt here, and then this air dam goes into service mode, which means it deploys. So if you watch my air dam video, you'll see how it's deployed. And then there's a bolt here and a bolt there. And so you drop this plate here, and then you can access it. Now, I'm a big fan of access panels. I just was talking to Tuck about this, and he says, yeah, you can put an access panel right here. His only complaint is when you go to like fast Jiffy Lube places, they take that panel off and they just throw it away. So if you do it yourself, you can keep your panel or buy a replacement panel. I like the easy access panel myself, and so there's your additional step. Now you do have the oil drain here, so you can drain it pretty easily. That's nice and easy to get to, but the oil filter itself might be more of a pain. So we can see the control arms. These are heavy. The Bilstein shocks, the coil suspension there, that is big reinforced. This is mighty beefy in my opinion. My friend Dan Edmonds, the suspension engineer, he'll have something on his channel, but I can tell you from my standpoint, I feel really good when I look at that and how strong it is. So I'm gonna keep walking here. I wanna talk next about catalytic converters. So catalytic converter theft is a huge issue, places along the border, places anywhere in the country where thieves can get to it. And if you know anything about it, it's a sawzall situation. So what I was surprised with this Toyota Tundra is we have 4 catalytic converters. I have 1, I have 2, and I have 3 and 4. All right, so I have 4 catalytic converters. Why? Emissions. So this whole truck is about fuel economy and hitting the greenhouse gas emissions regulations that Toyota forecasts are gonna see as things tighten down. So to improve the pollution in this vehicle, we're adding more catalytic converters. This catalytic converter is fine. I mean, a thief is not gonna get to that one unless they have some sort of freaky arm turning situation, because it's buried up in there. This would be my concern. If I lived in an area with catalytic converter theft, I might consider adding like a cage that would hook to this frame and somehow protect that catalytic converter. Those two, that's gonna be dicey on that. So that's something to keep in mind. If you do live in an area with catalytic converters, get some cages for those. That one's fine, no problem there. Another thing I'm looking at with this truck, I'm looking very closely at it, is rust. You remember my 2021 Ford F-150 had like 5,000 miles on it? I had rust on differential, and what am I going to say it? I'm going to say the third member. I'm going to say the rear axle housing cover. People have different names for this. Back there, okay? So I'm going to go check that out, but I'm going to look along the sides to see if I have any rust on this truck, because, yeah, you know, the muffler is going to rust. No problem there. That's supposed to happen. There's certain types with metals that they have a rust, and it's protective coating on the rust, on the metal. Keeps that metal lasting longer. In this case, I have no problem there. Remember, for the Ford, I had these hangers. It's a type of zinc. It's a type of metal they use. And I may be using the wrong word there, but there's different grades of that metal. And on the F-150, they used a cheaper grade of metal. On the Toyota, nope. That is a better grade of metal, so I don't have the same rust issues on the hangers that the Ford had. Now that's huge, because if you live, I lived in Michigan, and what always happened in Michigan is those hangers rust off, and the muffler hit the ground, and that's how the muffler came off. So that's a big issue. Big fan of that. So coming along the sides, I have some skid plates here. These are, they're not metal. I don't think they're a plastic, but they're pretty beefy. And that's the, let's see, the oil tank is here, which that's on the hybrid and the gas version oil tanks there. And then the oil, the gas and the gas fill is there on the other side. So you have this side and that side. So coming along, I have heat shielding here, which is great, so it keeps that. And then let's check out these frame. So that frame there, man, that looks solid. Look how clean that looks. Solid. And look, I got some coating here. That's probably to keep, you know, to keep that metal protected. That's my guess. Look at that. I can spray in kind of stuff. But this looks really good. That looks really good. If you remember that video from last year, I crawled underneath Chevys and I crawled underneath GMCs, Fords, Rams, or Dodges, Titans, looking at rust, and Toyota and Ram had the best undercarriage of the vehicles. So having this look here, man, I mean, I got 1,000 miles on a truck and I drove through some nasty weather. So I'm excited to see that. I'll be excited to see this truck in like 10,000 miles, but I'm excited to see it for now. Let's come on the back. We have the Bilstein shocks here, because I do have the off-road package, right? Off-road package, Bilstein shocks. Here's your coil suspension there. And then there's the track bar or stabilizer bar there, right? And so that looks really good. Really solid there. I do have some more coating to keep the heat shield down. There's usually rust right here, and that's fine. There's usually rust right there, and that's just the way the metal is on that part. I don't have really a problem with that. I just want to have a good looking cross member here, right? So rear axle housing, or a third member, or whatever you're gonna call this thing. And so I'm curious to see that. I have a little bit of a, looks like paint. That doesn't look like rust to me. It looks like paint to me. There's a little paint here. So I'm not big deal about that. I can see a little bit of rust with the metals there. Not a big deal there. This will rust a little bit here and there. No big deal here. But let me look at the rear all the way in the back. The rear pumpkin, right? So the joke last year is that I made 60,000 men go like this in their truck. And I look underneath, because nobody looks at this stuff. And that looks really good. That looks painted, looks coated. I'm a big fan of that. And I know this is cast iron. I know it's not gonna rust through. I get it. But it just makes me feel better knowing that it looks good. It's just a customer thing. I appreciate mechanics are gonna sound off and say, oh, it doesn't matter, whatever. But it just makes people feel good. And that's why Ram does it. We interviewed Ram on this, and they said, we do it for customer satisfaction. We want customers to feel good about their vehicles. That's why they coat the undercarriage. And that makes me feel good. Come around the sides here, we can see the disc brakes. Good bolts there. Under hanger, this looks nice and solid. Nice and painted too, looks really good. Both looking good. There's your spare tire. And it's accessible from the bumper. There's a hole in the ground. Sorry, I was like, what is that? There's a key, you put the key in and you lower it down. And so that's tucked away nicely. We have the receiver hitch, and these are pretty easy to use. This is a good design here. And that hooks together with the rear bumper back there, back of the frame. So, and the connections all look really solid, nice and clean. I'm a big fan of nice and clean. And coming over here, nice and clean. Now there was oh, this is a great segue. There was a lot of conversation about this rear bumper. If you follow this channel, you know I have some concerns about it. I'm not sure I like the whole design. Engineering, solid. Design of this, a little mixed. But so here's what happens: is this bumper wraps around the back and it goes up, so there's no step anymore. You can't step in the side, tailgate down, you can't get in. And so guys have been asking me if they can cut in steps here. Can they cut their own steps in and make their own step? And this is just, that is not metal. That feels like aluminum. That might be aluminum. It's really lightweight. And then you have some lights there and a support there. So, yeah. I'm gonna go with no to the idea you can add steps to that. I mean, I don't see how, and I don't see cutting this off. And I'm not, because it's all one piece here too, that's bolted together. I don't know if you're gonna be able to do an aftermarket bumper on this at all without taking, because you'd have to take this entire piece off and then cut it somehow and mold it back together. Like, huh. I mean, I know the aftermarket does some pretty impressive stuff. I'll be really impressed to see if something happens there. I want to walk along this side now too. So we have body mounts. We have the wiring harness going in the cabin. This is part of the coil link suspension, right? So it's a coil link. I got coils, I got bars, I got the track bar there. That's how coil link suspensions work. You don't have leaf springs anymore. So over here, that's a ground. Nice frame there. Again, there is your skid plates. I don't know, I mean, yeah, could they be made out of aluminum? Could they be made out of something stronger? Sure. But that's not, I mean, I don't know. Sound out below. What do you guys think? It seems like it's able to take a beating. And I'm sure at some point, I'm gonna beat it. And we'll see what happens. All right, over here, let's wrap it up. We have the more bolts there, tires there, that there. Yeah, okay. So, all right, there you go. There's the walk around of the truck. 0W20 oil, 5W20 if you need to, port manual. I'll put the service interval down below. I didn't look at that before I came, I'm sorry. And then the oil filter, I'm trying to remember if I did everything. I did oil filter, I did the oil, I did oil intervals, I did show you the rear, talked about the bumper, I talked about the access for stuff. I think I got all of it. Let me know, put in the comments below what I missed. Other videos on this channel, I got tons of this 2022 Tundra Limited, doing all these little details. Make sure you check out the full playlist. Website down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road.